What's going on, guys? It's Jimmy here. Welcome to our daily show where we discuss everything going on here in our country that you need to know about here on a daily basis. And we have some crazy news going on here. Former President Donald Trump has just been all over the news here lately. First, we had the search and seizure of his Florida Mar-a-Lago home with the FBI raid, or they did have a warrant. Former President Donald Trump says it was a raid, and we have a lot of controversy over that. Now we have Trump says he pleaded the fifth in a New York civil investigation. So instead of answering questions, he decided to plead the fifth. And this is directly from Donald Trump himself. Yeah. Yeah, Donald Trump invoked his Fifth Amendment right, protecting against self incrimination, as he testified under oath here today in the New York Attorney General long running civil investigation into his business dealings. The former president said in a statement. Trump arrived at Attorney General Lolita James' office here in a motorcade shortly today, before announcing more than an hour later that he, quote, declined to answer the questions under the rights and privileges afforded to every citizen under the United States Constitution, aka he pleaded the fifth. Quote, I once asked, if you're innocent, why are you taking the Fifth Amendment? Now I know the answer to the question, the statement said. When your family, your company, and all the people in your orbit have been the targets of an unfounded, politically motivated witch hunt supported by lawyers, prosecutors, and the fake news media, you have no choice, was the statement by the former president. Trump writes, my great company and myself are being attacked from all sides. Banana Republic. Once the investigation wraps up, the New York Attorney General could decide to bring a lawsuit seeking financial penalties against Trump or his company, or even ban them being involved in certain types of businesses. Two of the Trump's adult children, Donald Jr. and Ivanka, testified in recent days. Two people familiar with the matter said. The people were not authorized to speak publicly and did so on condition of being anonymous. When their brother Eric Trump sat for a deposition in the same investigation in 2020, he invoked the Fifth Amendment more than 500 times, according to court papers. It says here, people generally don't have a constitutional right to avoid questions in a civil lawsuit. But Trump's legal team fought James's attempt to question him for months, arguing that the district attorney's parallel investigation created a risk he could face criminal charges. Lawyers in James's office have assisted with that criminal charges investigation. Yeah, so let me know your thoughts here in the comments. I'll keep you up to date here on all this. There's a lot going on here. Yeah. Meanwhile, we have a lot of different things going on here from Congress, from the Senate, and the bill will be going to the House now, the Inflation Reduction Act. That is expected to be voted on here on Friday. And we also have several bills that were signed into law here that were just passed here. Take a listen. And we'll be hearing from Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal here in this video. She'll be giving us some insight here on what we can expect here from the House of Representatives.
The FBI's search of Donald Trump's golf resort has been overshadowing what's shaping up to be a banner week for Democrats. Earlier today, President Joe Biden signed a major manufacturing bill into law in a ceremony on the White House South Lawn, praising House Speaker Nancy Pelosi and Leader Chuck Schumer for helping get it passed. The $280 billion package includes tens of billions of dollars to bolster the semiconductor industry here in the United States, an investment that'll go a long way in helping U.S. manufacturers build chips that power everything from smartphones to cars. A few hours later, President Biden was in the East Room of the White House signing documents that will bring Sweden and Finland closer to joining NATO. This all follows the Senate's near unanimous vote to approve their membership to the alliance, a vote that exceeded the two-thirds support needed. And the victory lap isn't over yet, as Biden pointed out earlier today.
I hope to be signing the Inflation Reduction Act into law that's going to lower the cost of health care and energy and make historic investments to tackle climate crisis.
That bill could head to the president's desk as soon as Friday. Now, that historic legislation is the much smaller version of President Biden's landmark Build Back Better bill, but major pieces of that original legislation exist in this new bill. That legislation was the result of hard negotiations by the leader of the Progressive Caucus, Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal. She held the line when parts of that monumental legislation were on the chopping block. So it's worth hearing from her about what she thinks of the Inflation Reduction Act and what's been left out of it. Joining us now is Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal of Washington. She's the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus, member of the House Budget Committee. Congresswoman, good to see you again. Thank you for being here.
Ali, it's always great to be with you. Thanks for having me.
Look, you have long struggled to get progressive priorities into this sort of bill, back when it was the other bill that we were talking about and now this one. Some of your progressive colleagues have argued that this is baby steps. It's not 100% of where you wanted to be in any particular place. How do you characterize it?
Well, Ali, first of all, I'm really proud of the Progressive Caucus for holding the line, as you said, because if you remember, when the infrastructure bill came over to us, there was no Build Back Better Act. There were no negotiations, and there was no legislation passed through the House. And what you are seeing today, the Reduction Act, is significant in this bill. And I will tell you that while I am heartbroken for the pieces that aren't in it, this is a massive step forward. And it is a massive step forward in a couple of ways. First, it is really the biggest investment that we've ever had in reducing carbon emissions, 40% by 2030. And that is net of some bad provisions that we don't particularly like that are in the bill. Second, it is a really cost-cutting measure because not only are we bringing energy costs down about $1,000 a year for an average American family on energy cost reduction, but also healthcare costs. We're continuing the healthcare subsidies. And for the first time, Ali, not enough for me, but we are going to get a toe in the door of taking on big pharma and price gouging and allowing Medicare to negotiate a small set of drugs, admittedly, but still a beginning to really taking on big pharma. And third, this is about finally getting the wealthiest corporations and the wealthiest individuals to pay their fair share. It's a beginning, 15% minimum tax, including for large corporations like Amazon right here in my home district. Everyone should pay their fair share. And so I think on all three of those counts, this is lowering costs, investing and bringing us forward on addressing climate change, $60 billion, by the way, in environmental justice in this bill, and, of course, in making the wealthiest pay their fair share. All big progressive priorities.
Now, you managed to get the two recalcitrant Democratic senators to not only sign on, but in the case of Joe Manchin, be active in the formation of this bill, obviously in exchange for some things that he wanted done and Kyrsten Sinema wanted done. But when you look at the example of that, the politics involved in getting this bill done, it took months to do it. Is there some likelihood that the things that you're not happy about that didn't get in there, is there some likelihood about building consensus to get more of that done during your term?
Well, I think that it's probably unlikely that we're going to get more legislation done, as much as I would like to see that happen. The pieces of the bill that I'm heartbroken about that we're not passing are, of course, the investments in the care economy, which would help bring women back into the workforce. But what I would say to people across this country who are, impatient that we haven't gotten that done is that we made a giant step forward in drafting the language and getting the consensus for 99% of the Democratic Party to be on board for universal childcare, universal pre-K, investments in housing, covering dental, vision, and hearing benefits for Medicare. And so all we need to do, Ali, is now get a couple more people, a couple more Democrats in the Senate who are on the president's economic agenda, and then we can pass it very quickly. In the meantime, we have an executive action slate that includes canceling student debt, that includes raising the overtime threshold so that millions of workers can get a pay raise, and many other things around abortion, the Dobbs decision. And we're going to push on the executive branch to make sure the president is using every tool in his toolbox.
What happened on insulin? I can't get my head around what happened there. There was legislation that made a lot of sense to limit how much people pay for insulin, which is a very old drug upon which the patent has run out a long time ago. I don't understand that.
This is absolute heresy in my mind, because we had a provision, Democrats did, to cap the price of insulin at $35, not only for Medicare recipients, but for anyone on private insurance as well. That, of course, is a much, much larger group of people who would see the cost of insulin come down. And the Republicans refused to go along with the provision to extend that cap on insulin to a larger group of people. Now, of course, I should remind everyone that not a single Republican voted for any of this. Not a single Republican wants to cut healthcare costs for Americans or energy costs for Americans or take on climate change. This was passed on a Democratic-only vote, but it is particularly galling to see Republicans vote against. And I should say, I think there were 6 or 7 that voted with Democrats on this, but the vast majority of Republicans voted against capping the cost of insulin. That was just cruel, in my view, to all the people out there who are suffering with this high cost of insulin and price gouging.
And millions of people. It's one of the most common afflictions in the United States. Congresswoman, good to see you. Thank you for the work that you did on this. Washington Congresswoman Pramila Jayapal is the chair of the Congressional Progressive Caucus. We appreciate your time, as always.
Yeah, that's one of the things that I can't figure out why there was 7 Republicans that voted yes on it, because it's a common sense one that even some Republicans were like, how could I vote against this? And yeah, there's over 30 million Americans that take insulin, which is a lot, and it's so expensive. It's so expensive. You can get some type of insulin from Walmart for $25, but there's other types of insulin that is very expensive, hundreds of dollars. And some people need to take 2 different types of insulin, and I get that not everybody can take that form of it. So the provision in this bill that has passed the Senate and will now go to the House for a vote does cap cost at $35 a month, which it's really good thing, because most forms of insulin are hundreds of dollars a month here. It will cap insulin costs at $35 a month for people on Medicare. The vote that they wanted to do, that 7 Republicans voted yes on and all 50 Democrats, would have also capped it for private health insurance, including people that work at companies and people that just have regular health insurance outside of Medicare. They had 57 votes. They needed 60. So if they would have got 3 more Republicans to voted yes, it would have capped all insulin costs at $35 a month. So that would have been amazing, because I read you guys in a previous video that the cost of insulin is anywhere from, like, I think it was $3 to $6 to manufacture. The insulin is a very old prescription drug. The patent has expired a long time ago, and it's very cheap to make. It's a little bit complex to make because they have to. I had a previous article on it, but there's only 3 main manufacturers that make it. California is going to start making it as well, and this is a problem that's really starting to grow, and there's more and more companies trying to maybe work on this. California is going to invest $100 million to start making it as well, but I guess at least Medicare is going to cap the cost. I know there's some states that have capped the cost as well. So, hey, the more we can get done, the better. And also, it's going to cap the out-of-pocket costs for Medicare for all prescription drugs at $2,000 a year, which is about $166 a month if you average it out. Before, there was no cap cost. Okay, so before there was no maximum cost. And also, it's going to Medicare is going to be able to lower or negotiate the cost of prescription drugs. It starts off at a certain amount of drugs. There's like a limit of 20 per year, and it has kind of a phase-in stage here. But again, before there was no negotiating. They couldn't negotiate on anything. The VA could. The VA has been doing this for many, many years, and it's like, why could the VA do it, but not Medicare? And it's kind of silly. It's kind of silly. And remember, the United States pays 2.5 times on average more than any other country, and in some cases 10 times more, even than Canada in some cases, for the exact same prescription drugs, which is part of the reason why our healthcare is so expensive, which is part of the reason why insulin in some cases is $800 for a prescription when it costs $6 to make. Like, how does that make any sense at all? Something that costs $6 to make costs $800 for EpiPens and stuff. Absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And these are life-saving prescriptions that people can die from. They can get blindness from if they don't get it. It's absolutely sick. And we look at things like Alduhelm that costs $56,000 for Alzheimer's, and that costs millions and millions of people for Medicare Part B. That was part of the reason you are paying that large increase from last year. Even if you don't have Alzheimer's if you don't have or Alzheimer's, and if you don't have if you don't take it, you're still paying part of that large increase from last year for Medicare Part B. So um, being able to have Medicare negotiate these down, and if going forward, if we have Medicare able to negotiate all these prescriptions for the whole country, everything down, imagine if we can just it will lower the cost of healthcare all around. Okay, as opposed to being able to just let these pharmaceutical companies charge us whatever they want, charge us whatever they want. That's kind of the problem. Honestly, that's almost basically what happens with gas companies right now. These gas and oil companies get to charge us whatever they want. It's kind of sad. It's kind of sad, but imagine if we had the government able to negotiate the price of gas and oil. Imagine what the price of oil would be. And what's kind of weird is we actually have lower gas prices than most of the rest of the world here. We'll take a quick look here. We haven't looked at this for a while, but remember that. So right now, our national average gas price here in the U.S. is $4.01. And really, we have a lot of places that are well in the low threes. I've seen some people say their gas is at $3.30. I've seen somebody say their gas price was at $3.18. A lot of places has their gas in the low threes, but our national average gas, $4.01. Let's take a look here, just a quick glance. Gas in the United Kingdom right now in US dollars as of 2 days ago is $8.12 a gallon in US dollars, in US gallons. So we're at 401, they're at 812. So if you think gas prices are bad here in the United Kingdom, one of our closest allies, it's $8.12 a gallon. Double, guys, doubles. Like I said, inflation's everywhere. Gas prices in Canada, $5.69. So remember, we're at 401. They're at 5.69, and this is U.S. dollars and U.S. gallons. In Canadian dollars, it's 7.34. Okay, and this is U.S. gallons. This is equates it. This isn't liters or Canadian dollars or anything like that. So 5.69 in U.S. dollars. So much higher than our national average. Gas prices in Italy, $6.98, almost $7 a gallon in Italy. Gas prices in China, $5.07 a gallon. Still more than our $4.01. So, yeah. So inflation is everywhere, guys. And really, thankfully, it's coming down here. Gas has been down for like 57 days in a row. Hopefully, it continues. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. Make sure to subscribe down below to our YouTube channel and click the bell icon so you get notifications. Make sure to hit the like button for us down below as well. It's completely free to subscribe. I'll keep you up to date here with everything going on here in our country on a daily basis. You can click here to see my newest video on an important inflation number that just came out for Social Security. Click that if you haven't seen that. And here is cash payments coming out to millions of Americans this month. So click on one of those videos next. Thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you in the next video.